From a deleted star game mode to a player beating the game in the ocean. These are the greatest Geometry Dash facts of 2025.
Back in 2014, Geometry Dash players were hyped about one of the best levels ever created, the invention of collabs. The level Collaboration by Sari was the first level that was made with groups of people, including Dorabe, Sari, and Jack. This idea let top creators team up to build levels together, combining their unique styles into something truly amazing. Not only did it create some of the most memorable levels, but it also let the community's creativity shine through. This idea is still displayed in the game to this day, with levels like Limbo and the Yandere being some of the most impressive levels to this day. And let's be honest, even though 2.2 levels are cool, the innovations made in older updates are just so much more impressive. Remember Flappy Bird? Besides Geometry Dash players remembering it as a game, there was also a trend where players created Flappy Bird-like levels, and it was everywhere, especially in 1.8. Almost every level that was shown on the search was a Flappy Bird level. These levels were essentially played using a UFO and jumping through these pipe-like obstacles, just like the actual game Flappy Bird. This literally would have mixed rage from both games into one, essentially making players throw their phones into a lake. Did you know that before the 1.6 update, you didn't actually have to worry about coins? That's right, and OG players know that feeling. However, in January 2014, the update introduced 3 secret coins hidden in each level. Collecting them didn't just boost your stats, but also helped unlock new levels and icons. But still, they can make you rage too. Stupid coins! Old players know RobTop was almost terminated because of a bribe. Back in the day, Geometry Dash had an offer where players could get a free icon just for rating the game. Sounds like a cool deal, right? Well, Google didn't think so. They saw it as RobTop bribing players to boost the game's rating, and he was literally forced to remove the feature. No free icons, no sneaky ratings, just a big nope from Google. People were traumatized because of this event. Back in the day, a popular Geometry Dash creator named TriAxis had the whole community talking. Like most GD creators, she uploaded videos of herself completing levels, earning tons of respect from fans. But then one day, she dropped a really unsettling video where she hinted at some dark plans to hurt herself. Fans in the entire GD community were absolutely terrified, flooding her with messages and begging her to not go through with it. Eventually, the situation got fully resolved, but for a while, it left everyone feeling really uncomfortable. Many players thought VSC was an impossible challenge to beat at first, until a player named Bo verified it. But soon after, he admitted to cheating, leaving the level open for a real verification. It stayed unbeaten for over a year and a half until Yosarian pulled off an insane fluke, completing it in just 49 attempts, cementing his place as a legend in Geometry Dash history. And finally, the greatest moment in Geometry Dash history has to be the release of Update 2.2, a moment that me and many players waited 6 years for. This update finally introduced platformer mode, bringing a whole new way to play along with sound effects like fire in the hole, which instantly became one of the biggest memes in the community. And after so many years of anticipation, 2.2 was absolutely worth the wait, despite what some people say. Some level creators love to keep things simple, using only very few objects in their designs. But Sputnik's took it a whole new level. His level XXIX uses just 29 objects, breaking the world record for the lowest object count in a featured Geometry Dash level in the history of the game. This trend was actually started by players like Pog, with previous levels having around 49 and 39 objects. But Sputnik's managed to drop that number by 10. And it's not just minimalistic, it's actually very impressive too, with a custom background that actually stands out. Another unbeatable world record is the first ever auto platformer called MS-22 by Flash. Not only is it the very first of its kind, but it also doubles as an MS-22 synthesizer, so you can actually play around with it. Pretty cool. And it's technically an auto platformer since you can complete it without even playing. Looks like I'll be making some music bangers, but in Geometry Dash. Okay, never mind. That kind of sucks. Have you ever seen RobTop go live? Well, he does have a channel and he rarely uploads there, plus the chances of him going live are lower than me passing my classes. However, this one time, RobTop actually went live and he accidentally displayed something that broke the entire Geometry Dash community. He was casually verifying levels when he actually no-clipped through something and then went into the level menu for a second. And right there, players noticed something insane. There were 2 play buttons. One was normal, but the second one had low opacity and was only available to him. Turns out this was a hidden tool that RobTop made for himself. Basically, it would play back the verified run attempt in real time so RobTop could check if there's like a secret way. Which explains why so many great levels just vanish into the Geometry Dash void. They didn't pass the secret RobTop lie detector. With the release of 2.2, a bunch of new icons got added to the game. But what most people didn't realize was that most of these new icons were actually just remakes of old ones. Like this one here, it was originally from Deadlocked, but in 2.2, RobTop just decided to give it a little evil glow up and tossed it right back in like we wouldn't notice. And it doesn't stop there. This icon got a total of 3 makeovers. Then there's the Theory of Everything 2 icon from 1.9. It got added again in 2.2, but now it has one extra eye and a mouth that's somehow even bigger. Back in the day, having a 144Hz monitor essentially made players think you're cheating. Sounds crazy, right? I mean, at the time, most screens were capped at 60Hz, meaning they could only refresh 60 times per second, basically limiting how much frames per second you could actually see. But if you had a 144Hz monitor, it let you see smoother motion and react way faster than other players. Some players even claim to give you an unfair advantage, but in reality, those players had thicker wallets. Everyone knows that catching a perfect fluke is rare, but did you know that the same goes for loading screen messages? With 61 different loading screen messages in Geometry Dash, the odds of getting the same one twice in a row are only 1.6%. That's right, catching this rare moment is almost as surprising as a perfect fluke in one of the hardest levels. So next time, maybe skip being distracted while your game loads, because you never know when you might witness that rare double loading screen moment. This Geometry Dash level operates on pure RNG, and each attempt is a high-stakes gamble. Players never know what to expect with every tap and jump. It's designed to test patience, endurance, and maybe a little bit of insanity. Some players will keep grinding just hoping that the stars align in their favor. And for everyone else, well, let's just say that rage quitting might be an understatement. Many players think they've played tough levels, but nothing compares to the final part of Maze of Justice. This is so hard that players tried using hacks to beat the level, and the rare thing is that even players using bots could not beat it. And in case you don't know what botting is, it's basically playing a level in practice mode very slow, and then it'll play for you in normal speed in normal mode. And if you thought you had it rough with other extreme demons, Maze of Justice will make you rethink your entire life. Imagine opening Geometry Dash and it just decides to delete itself, except for 2 levels. Someone posted a video on YouTube titled Weird Geometry Dash Bug, which revealed something really odd. After finishing a level and reopening the game, he found the home screen completely gone. All the textures were just completely disappeared. The only levels left were back on track and base after base. It's wild that this bizarre glitch has only happened to him. Seriously, how does that even work? If you play Geometry Dash every day, you've probably opened the daily and weekly chests. But did you know that there is an obscure bug which makes the daily chest literally say 11 days left until you can open it again? And the weekly chest would say 12 days, like how? I guess we will never know if this bug was patched in 2.2 since it's so rare. And RobTop really needs to go back to school. Some moments in Geometry Dash feel just as iconic as scenes from masterpiece movies. One perfect example is when a streamer finally beat an insanely difficult challenge, and his reaction was absolutely wild. But just as he was celebrating, his parents walked in to see why he was screaming, and instead of being mad, they hugged him and cheered him on for beating the level. It doesn't get more wholesome than that. The Pesta's reaction to beating Kinos isn't just iconic, it became a core part of internet meme culture. Players clipped his over-the-top celebration and spread it absolutely everywhere, turning it into a viral sensation that went outside of just Geometry Dash. However, this sudden fame had a dark side, as Nepesta faced massive bullying and ridicule across the internet. But in the end, this incident brought the Geometry Dash community together, uniting them against unnecessary shaming and toxicity within the player base. Imagine playing Geometry Dash, but at a school talent show. That's exactly what Mandamar did, taking on Bloodbath by Riot. He even set a world record as the first person to complete an extreme demon level at a school event. That kind of dedication and practice is no joke, especially with all your classmates watching and the adrenaline pumping. If I tried that and messed up, then my negative aura levels would be generationally infinite. Eon by Ren 241 is the longest finishable level in Geometry Dash, clocking in at a whopping 55 minutes straight. I'm not sure what song plays during that entire time, but building a level like that must have taken ages. This level is rated as an extreme demon, so prepare yourself to do your best for 55 whole minutes. Just imagine getting all the way to 99% and then die. Yeah, my whole setup would have ended up in the trash can. This might just be one of the most unifying world records ever. Jazer once posted a comment asking players to make it the most disliked comment in all of Geometry Dash. And guess what? Yeah, it actually worked. Everyone came together to dislike it, and it now holds the record with over 150,000 dislikes. Extra long levels are a staple to Geometry Dash, but not many people know that the very first one was actually a complete disaster. The level was called Primary Maze, and it dropped back in early 1.7. At the time, it was the longest level in the entire game, 2 full minutes of gameplay, which was insane for the era. But here's where Geometry Dash completely fumbled it. Custom songs didn't exist back then, and the longest built-in track RobTop had in the game's directory was only 1 minute and 35 seconds. So yeah, if you played this thing, you already know. Those last 45 seconds were just pure awkward silence. No music, no beat, nothing. It was just you you, your cube, and the crushing sound of your conscience telling you to go outside. It felt like the game forgot it was supposed to be fun and just dipped. Bro accidentally invented geometry depression. Did you know there was once a mega collab level called Cybernetic Crescent made by multiple devs all putting their best work into one insane creation? But one of them, Nazca, went a little overboard, in the best way possible. See, the level looks pretty standard on the outside. Flashy, intense, clean gameplay. But then you start noticing something weird. There are these strange symbols on the blocks that literally make no sense. Or so we thought. Turns out, Nazca was cooking something crazy. These weren't random designs. Those are actual Sheikah symbols from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yeah, straight up Nintendo lore in a Geometry Dash level. And it gets even better because players eventually realized that every single symbol could be translated into English. And what did they say? They were personalized shoutouts to all the people who upload the level. Meanwhile, I can't even get a reply to my group project message. Remember the days when Everyplay was the go-to platform for sharing Geometry Dash progress videos? It was like a little hub for players to show off their skills and share their milestones. But then in 2018, it unfortunately got shut down. And with it, a ton of nostalgic memories disappeared forever. RIP Everyday, we will miss you. Back in the early days of Geometry Dash, old school players might remember the father of Geometry Dash hack, MGhostIH. I mean, he was the first to create hack tools for the game, sparking tons of drama within the community. Whether you love him or hate it, you can't deny that he was a controversial figure. But here's the twist. Some argue that he also contributed to the game's evolution. Not only did he influence mods and level creation, but he even helped develop Pointer Crate. In case you didn't know, Pointer Crate is a website that tracks player stats and levels, kind of like the Demon List. So while MGhostIH might have been a rule breaker to say the least, his impact on the game is still a hot topic among all fans. Speaking of hacks, OG Geometry Dash players might remember the infamous player Wargak. This guy made a name for himself by hacking some of the most famous levels at the time. He'd post videos of himself absolutely destroying demon levels, making it look ridiculously easy and leaving players totally confused. But of course, he couldn't keep the secret forever, and he eventually got exposed. Even so, Wargak's legacy lives on as one of the first big hackers in Geometry Dash history. Did you ever notice a change in orbs animation? Well, over time, there have been many updates in Geometry Dash, and one of them was actually the change in animation of many orbs. Even the jump ringer orb, however you call it, it's been changed. And it looks cool, but I definitely miss the OG vibe. OG players will remember when color achievements were actually square. Completing a quest to unlock a new color for your icon gave you a square notification, and not the circles that we all know and love today. And honestly, it made sense since the color section menu is literally made of squares too. I'm not too sure why RobTop decided to change it, but it's definitely something that only true OGs will remember. Everybody knows that fluking a level from 0% is almost impossible. Well, Scaro, a 15-year-old controller player, did just that with Erebus by Platnu. And just to put that into perspective, the probability of this happening is about 0.0001%, which is like trying to find a needle in a haystack, if the haystack were on fire. Scaro didn't just complete the level, I mean, they completely obliterated it.
Hey, I don't think you can have an opinion on this after he beats the real Erebus. Okay.
What the fuck? Did you just fluke that from like before 30?
Can you imagine being that calm at 15? Because I was definitely not. If you're one of those people dreaming of getting RobTop to comment on your level, you might want to check your odds because it's like winning the lottery. I mean, the guy has only dropped around 3,250 comments across tens of millions of levels, giving this a 0.003% chance of happening. I mean, players are out here pouring their heart into these creations, hoping for that rare stamp of approval. But hey, when you finally get it, you might as well frame that comment. It's basically the ultimate badge of honor. Did you know that Sonic Wave Unlimited, one of the most iconic demons in the game, has many different Easter eggs? Each Easter egg only has a 1% chance of happening due to a random trigger, but this player actually managed to get one of them, and it's extremely funny.
Really?
What?
Yes, this is real. Aeonair is one of the most influential players in the entire Geometry Dash community, known for his insane demon grinding and reactions to top tier levels. He was even one of the first to participate in the first ever collaboration level in the game, but his most legendary achievement, beating Back on Track, the hardest level of all time. With the release of version 2.2, RobTop introduced a brand new rating mechanic that changed Geometry Dash forever, the mythic rating. This rating was created to highlight levels with exceptional creativity and harmony, something that previously could only spread through word of mouth. and the first ever level to receive this honor was the Tower verse by 16 Lord. While some players agree it deserves the title and others don't, one thing is certain. Mythic rated levels have the absolute best visuals in all of Geometry Dash. Back when the Geometry Dash community was at its most toxic, it actually forced a creator to delete an entire level. Crazy Man 50, or Kermal, a highly skilled creator, announced he was making Low Death, a buffed and much harder remake of the iconic level High Life. The level had the potential to rank high as an extreme demon, but instead of supporting it, players kept spamming Kermal to verify it and harshly criticizing every detail. Eventually, he got so frustrated that he just deleted the level entirely. This was a wake-up call for the community. Too much toxicity and the levels they want might just disappear forever. Most hackers get exposed, but Andromeda's confession was completely different. Almost no one even suspected he was cheating, and only a few players had their doubts, but instead of getting caught, Andromeda shocked the entire community by coming forward himself and just admitted to hacking. And to make things right, he went back and replayed all of his levels and beat them legitimately, proving he could actually play without hacks. In the end, he fully redeemed himself. Be like Andromeda. Now, many players are used to seeing some of the longest levels in Geometry Dash, but this level is actually the shortest one. The world record for the shortest level goes to Shortest Level by Zombie Smurf 83, and it's so short that it's rated as NA, and the moment you press play, you're already done. Quirke is the only player who's beaten the level Time Machine with his foot. Yup, while most players just use their hands like normal people, Quirke decided I could do it with my foot, and after a few attempts, he actually pulled it off, getting the world record title into his hands, or should I say rather, his feet. Did you know that you can actually kill players in Geometry Dash? Well, not really players, but if you hover your mouse over the little cube icons on the main screen, you can pop them, and they count as player kills on your stats menu. One player, Technical Low YT, holds the record for the most pops ever, over 3.5 million. People, including me, were seriously curious about how he actually pulled this off, but he said it's just a habit he has while hanging out in the Geometry Dash main menu. Yeah, honestly, I don't think anyone's even trying to break that world record anytime soon. Many players know one simple rule: if it has a screen, it can play Doom. And one player, Nemo2510, took that rule seriously by creating the first ever playable version of Doom inside of Geometry Dash. And no, it's not a joke, it's fully functional. You can shoot, take down enemies, and even complete the level if you manage to find the exit. The fact that someone pulled this off using the Geometry Dash programming language means that one day we may be able to use it for just about everything. But there's actually something RobTop hates even more than free stuff, and that's fixing his own mistakes. Yeah, you guessed it, because in the level Geometrical Dominator, there are so many visual bugs, it feels like he designed it at 3 AM and hit publish before looking twice. This level goes hard on the whole 3D vibe with glowing white outlines and all that cool death stuff, but then RobTop just completely fumbles the bag. Like at 16%, there's this block where the glowing outline makes it look taller than it actually is. So when you jump, you fall a bit lower than expected, and your whole timing gets thrown off. It's like the game pranked you on purpose. And it doesn't stop there. Some objects are missing their 3D lines entirely, which makes them look like flat NPCs in a 3D cutscene. And then there are these black bushes with random white bushes shoved in the middle like someone applied a glitch filter on accident. This level might even be lazier than the Geometry Dash Sub-Zero coin thing. Did you know that there's one level that inspired RobTop to actually add the demon difficulty? Back in the day, the hardest difficulty was insane until Demon Park by M2 Call was released. This was the first ever demon level in Geometry Dash history. This single level led to the creation of Minimalist, shaping the entire difficulty system we have today. And also a fun fact is most players think Bloodbath was inspired by Cataclysm, but it was actually Demon Park that inspired Riot, who even called it a prequel level. But speaking of Riot's rival Cyclic, he rose to fame in the Geometry Dash community by beating insanely difficult levels like Cataclysm and even verifying Sonic Wave, which was supposed to be a harder level than Bloodbath. This put him at the top, making him one of the best players in the game as well. However, in 2016, Cyclic shocked everyone by confessing that he had hacked every level he completed, including Sonic Wave. He posted a short video directing viewers to the description where he admitted everything, completely destroying his reputation. Meanwhile, Riot, who had been competing against him, only got status for being the best Geometry Dash player. So everyone knows the most useless feature in Geometry Dash: map hacks. OG players especially know this because, well, even back in the early updates, they weren't doing any better. Seriously, having a few additional map hacks to play didn't give much fun to players, and nobody really cared about them. The conclusion for map hacks, well, they just suck. You obviously know what jump orbs are. Well, it turns out they're not actually called jump orbs. I mean, they're called jump ring. OG players probably already knew this, along with the fact that they didn't always have the cool glow effect that we now see today. Yeah, those rings definitely had a glow up. Did you know that there was a time where we didn't even have the wave game mode. Crazy, right? The wave was introduced in update 1.9, also known as the Golden Update, and it completely changed the game forever. Before the wave, we didn't have those insane tryhard levels that push your skills to the absolute max. But as soon as the wave dropped, we started seeing some of the hardest, most impossible levels ever made. This update basically kicked off the tryhard era of the game. Love it or hate it, the wave was a revolutionary addition from RobTop. Back in the OG days of Geometry Dash, trails were pretty simple. You only had two options, the stock trail or the legendary rainbow trail. But here's the catch, to unlock the rainbow trail, you had to collect 50 diamond points, which wasn't exactly easy back then as you had to complete many levels in order to get diamonds. However, if you managed to get it though, you were basically a certified pro. Showing off that rainbow trail was the ultimate flex at the time, and a great way to let your friends know that you were leagues ahead of everybody else. Geometry Dash is already really tough, but imagine playing it blind. Deadlocked, the hardest main level, is hard enough with visibility. And now imagine taking away every visual cue. YouTuber Kermal did exactly that, verifying invisible Deadlocked in just 2,800 attempts. The odds, beating this literally requires you to memorize an entire level. Yeah, no thanks. Everyone has beaten a level in practice mode without dying at some point, but imagine doing this on one of the hardest levels ever. Well, a popular YouTuber managed to beat the infamous Yatagarasu level in practice mode without using any checkpoints. Completely by accident too. Practice mode is meant to help you conquer some of the toughest sections, and it's only meant for literally practice. But completing this nightmare level without any checkpoints, that is a 1 in a million moment in Geometry Dash history. Practice mode! Especially because it didn't count as an actual completion, making Dorami extremely mad. But hold on, we're not finished yet. At the top of this crazy list is a YouTuber named Aurelia whose mouse literally caught on fire while playing the level's Sonic Wave. No, I mean it actually caught fire. One day, they thought that it would be a genius move to set their mouse on fire while grinding through the level's Sonic Wave. Seriously, you can literally see the flames creeping up on his mouse, slowly getting bigger. If there had been anything flammable in that room, this could have turned into a real nightmare. I mean, why did they think it was a good idea to do this? When version 1.9 released, Geometry Dash had one of its most game-changing updates ever. This was the moment that introduced features we couldn't imagine the game without today. Some players think custom music was the biggest change, while others believe the wave game mode completely transformed the game. But in my opinion, the real game changer was Geometry Dash finally being released on Steam, which is what truly shaped GD forever and pushed the skill gap. Do you know that someone actually created the whole auto level genre in Geometry Dash? Back in August 2013, the legendary Geometry Dash creator Darnock introduced us with the very first automatic level in Geometry Dash, changing the game forever. This one idea led to an entire category of levels where players could just sit back and watch insane sequences play out on their own, and from that moment on, the auto level trend was born. With the introduction of version 2.2, we got brand new platformer levels and a platformer story mode called the Tower. Because platformers offer free movement, players can complete the tower at their own pace, either fast or slow. And guess what? The record holder for the fastest completion is Signcoast, who even made a video when he set the record by completing it in 6 minutes and 42 seconds. And the craziest part, the previous record he broke was his own world record. Hey, I mean, if you're up for a challenge, I'd recommend trying to speedrun the shower. However, that's not as crazy as the next world record, because this one was set on an airplane. A player named Paz TV actually completed Stereo Madness while flying an airplane, which is honestly extremely impressive. He was essentially controlling 2 ships in the air at the same time. I'm just glad he wasn't playing club step, or that plane would have been completely cooked. We have already heard about playing Stereo Madness high up in the sky, but this player took things in the opposite direction. Xenochrome actually went 18 meters underwater with scuba gear just to play Stereo Madness. Does this mean he's the first person to play Geometry Dash underwater? RobTop, we need answers. The next impossible to beat record is also for platformers, but it's for the very first generic platformer ever. Enjoying the Sun by Autonic is exactly what it sounds like. You're dropped into a jungle environment and you make your way into a spooky temple. And for the first platformer, it's surprisingly creative and well made. And honestly, it's the best way for a Geometry Dash player to finally touch some grass. I bet you didn't know that in the level Acropolis by Zobros, there's a hidden Easter egg that most players completely miss. For the most part, the level's just normal, nothing special, but when you make it to the final section, things get weird. If you look very closely at the background, Zobros actually wrote a bunch of random words into the map like he got bored mid-design and decided to start typing nonsense. The first word that pops up just straight up says turkey. No context, no explanation, just turkey. What does it mean? Who is he? Is it a secret boss? Newbas? We may never know. Then right after that, you get hit with a lull and an easy, like Zobros was roasting you while you were finishing his level. Honestly, it felt less like an Easter egg and more like the dev equivalent of doodling in class. RobTop hates giving out free stuff, but when version 2.1 dropped, we finally got the vault, a secret little reward room where you could unlock icon kit goodies, secret coins, and achievements if you crack the codes. But here's the thing, something's off in there, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. There's this one little character sitting right under the code bar. It's got a triangle on its head like it's trying to cosplay as the Illuminati, but if you look closely, too closely, you'll notice that the triangle isn't center aligned. It's just chilling there, slightly off to the side, ruining lives one pixel at a time. I bet you didn't know that gravity orbs weren't always a thing in the game. Before the 2.0 update, there was no way to switch your gravity with orbs. But then in August 2015, everything changed with an update that introduced this amazing mechanic. And well, I'm certain that veterans remember it to this day. Zenthic is easily one of the most respected creators in all of Geometry Dash. If you've ever played levels like Blue Zenith or Zenith, you already know the insane creativity this creator has. His work didn't just blow minds, but also inspired countless other levels too. However, back in the day, true OG players will remember when he held the most creator point. And let's be real, it was well deserved. Zenthic would spend hours perfecting tiny details most of us wouldn't even notice, and that makes him a true Geometry Dash legend. Back before version 2.2, advanced animations weren't even a thing. There were no fancy keyframes or advanced tools to make your levels pop. But old school creators remember a genius discovery, the 4-frame animation technique. They figured out how to manipulate color channels and object properties to create smooth advanced effects that pushed the game's limitations. And honestly, these animations were super impressive, especially for how simple the tools were back then. Speaking of pushing Geometry Dash's engine to the limits, there was this genius trick where creators would use black color with blending enabled to make objects completely invisible. This was possible because black color in the RGB spectrum makes that color invisible with blending on. But if you were around back in the day, you'll remember how huge this was. It led to the creation of illusion levels, trolling maps, and even custom effects that seemed impossible to make at the time. Honestly, the creativity of Geometry Dash players made it feel like their average IQ was 200. Oh wait, never mind. Cyclic may have been exposed for hacking, but that's nothing compared to Mutual's legendary exposure of Newbas. Newbas was once a beloved YouTuber known for flawlessly completing insanely hard levels, until Mutual dropped a video exposing him for using speed hack to slow down his game to make levels extremely easy. Distorted sound effects, frame perfect run comparisons, and lost footage confirmed that Newbas was actually cheating the entire time, and this groundbreaking discovery shook the entire community, making players question every so-called pro YouTuber from that point on. Mifu's 98% fail on Sonic Wave might be the biggest example of the butterfly effect in Geometry Dash history. Before attempting it, his hardest completed level was Decode, so taking on Sonic Wave was definitely a huge leap. But as he played, he got closer and closer to beating it, and everyone was hyped until he died at 98%. After that, he completely disappeared, leaving behind a career that could have been as legendary as Riot's. And I'm definitely making that scream my notification sound. Everyone knows VSC is no joke, full of frame-perfect timings, dark vision, and super fast clicks that are physically impossible for many people. But a player named Yserian actually managed to fluke it from only 48%. And when I say fluke, I mean they completed it in one unexpected perfect attempt after failing over 154,000 times in a row. It's a miracle that they made it. Most players would be considering a new pair of glasses after that many attempts. Did you know that Geometry Dash has so many levels that level creators actually battle to get specific level IDs? The craziest fact about this is the race for the ID 80 million. One lucky player managed to snipe the exact 80 millionth level ID purely by chance, in just a 15-second window, with about 100 levels being uploaded all at the same time. They nailed it perfectly, and the odds of this are approximately 0.01%. Now, the level itself, it's not exactly groundbreaking. But hey, hitting that milestone is still a crazy achievement. But what's even more influential is the ID 100 million. Held by Shadow158, I bet you didn't know that it was originally a spam level that said, "I'll update later." But then eventually, he collabed with some people to make it an actually rate-worthy level. Many players think high FPS is essential to beating really hard demon levels, but this player proved everyone wrong. This Spanish player managed to beat Zero Ikabi, an insanely difficult level, while playing at just 15 frames per second. That's right, 15. Now, as we all know, low FPS makes the game extremely choppy, which is a nightmare for a precision-based game like Geometry Dash. But somehow, WSCKR pulled it off, timing every jump with ridiculous accuracy despite the insane lag. Honestly, pulling this off without rage quitting, that's the real miracle here, even if they almost lost their eyes. Speaking of impossible flukes, did you know that a YouTuber named Swyborg beat the Golden in just one attempt? Yeah, that's right. Swyborg managed to clutch a level that was the top 1 extreme demon at the time in a single attempt. He straight up just went up for it. Now, the odds of actually pulling off something like this, less than 0.00001%. Seriously, you'd have better luck winning the lottery and getting struck by lightning at the same time twice. But somehow Swyborg made it happen, leaving the entire Geometry Dash community stunned. But did you know that after that, a player by the name of Sid125 managed to beat the Golden 3 times in a row? Yeah, I'm not even joking. I mean, these players seriously need to go touch some grass. They probably don't even know what the sun is. Have you ever heard of Trusta? He's not just a legendary Geometry Dash player, because his arrival on the GD scene changed many players. Coming from Sweden, he's verified insane levels like Yadagarasu, Sakupenhel, and was even the 9th player to beat Bloodbath. But what truly sets him apart isn't just his skill. It's the Geometry Dash Demon Progression Project, a structured list designed to help players gradually improve and reach pro-level gameplay. Thanks to Trusta, countless players have had a clear path to mastering demons and becoming just as skilled as him. Did you know that Funny Game Holiday was the first level to ever introduce effects into Geometry Dash? After update 1.7, Funny Game created a level that unknowingly became one of the most influential in the game's history. Many new players assume these kinds of effects only started in 1.9, but Funny Game was already pushing boundaries way back in version 1.7. But the next world record, however, is about the most stars collected. And that title goes to Smithy777 with a whopping 27,300 stars. No, I'm not even joking, but that's not all. Smithy also holds the record for the most demon levels completed and the most moons collected. Platformer levels haven't even been around for too long, and he's already managed to grab 7,020 of them. Also, he's very active on his YouTube channel and publishes fun demon levels he completes. But did you know that the current record for the most attempts on a single level is 1,100,000? And while that number sounds insane, it was actually set by a real player, DN Top 1 Bust, on the level Tidal Wave. There are records which exceed 30 million attempts, but those are either hacks or done by bots. I have no idea how he pulled it off, but one thing's for sure, this cannot be healthy. And then there's the most generic speedrun of Geometry Dash, speedrunning all of the main levels from 1 all the way to 22. The current record holder is Lille, who managed to pull off all the level skips and complete everything perfectly, ending up with a completion time of 33 minutes and 15 seconds. Oh, and he even has a dedicated jump button just for Geometry Dash. That's cool, I guess. So to be a pro in Geometry Dash, all you really need is one simple button. Speaking of design inconsistencies, there's one hiding in the trigger menu that'll definitely make your eye twitch. If you open it up, you'll notice that the opacity and zoom effect tabs have completely different text colors for no reason. And not just that, the whole menu size feels off too. But it gets worse. If you zoom in even further, you can see the sliders are different as well, because one of them is a little brighter than the other one. RobTop, how do you nail a whole game and still fumble the most basic menu? You had one job. Back in the day, if you were scrolling through the comment section, you probably couldn't escape the weirdest trend ever. Tap my name. I mean, it was everywhere. And apparently, it was some attempt for players to promote their levels or profile. But whatever the reason, it was so annoying. You couldn't even see a single normal comment without tripping over a dozen of these at least. Remember the days before the demon list? OG players know exactly what I'm talking about. No hate, no drama, just pure chill. Back then, finding the hardest levels wasn't centralized. There was pointer crate to show tough levels, or the true OG method, watching YouTubers to discover demons. However then, the demon list arrived, and suddenly, demons started emerging everywhere, literally. Honestly, I think it's time we get an angel list to balance things out. Every player remembers the nostalgia of those classic 1.0 levels. The simple designs, the hype when a new level would drop, and the amazement over how cool it looked back then. And some of these players are even coming back to recreate these iconic styles. While some players love the nostalgic feeling of playing it, well, new ones don't seem as impressed and literally dislike it. If I was an OG player,
I would probably find their IP address.
Back in 2015, one comment managed to become the most influential in Geometry Dash history. A player named HollowDMG posted, "You are map, and somehow it turned into a massive inside joke. At first, it was just something funny between a few players, but over time it spread into levels, community memes, and even got acknowledged by RobTop himself. What started as a simple joke eventually became something recognized by millions of players. The 9 circles trend is easily the biggest level trend ever in Geometry Dash. The original 9 circles level starts with cube, ship, and then ball gameplay, but then switches to a wave section for 70% of the level, featuring a super cool wave effect. But this trend became so popular that tons of levels were inspired by it, and even the current top 1 tidal wave has taken some inspiration from this format. Speaking of tidal waves, Zoink's verification of this level has to be one of the greatest moments in Geometry Dash history. This level pushed human limits to the absolute extreme, and somehow Zoink became the first person ever to beat this near impossible challenge, or is he even human? After an intense grind and rising tensions, he finally conquered the level and had the ultimate reaction. And became the first player to verify 3 top 1s in the entire game's history. Did you know that there is a world record for the best Geometry Dash player ever? There's even a dedicated website called the Minimalist that ranks the world's best players based on their performances, complete with evidence of their plays. And according to the list, a player named Zoink is currently at the top. It's well deserved. I mean, just watch his playthrough of Tidal Wave, and you'll see how skilled he really is. However, not everybody in the community necessarily agrees. They believe the best players should also create levels and farm points like stars and moons. Now, Zoink might be a master at playing, but does that alone make him the best? Let me know who you think deserves that title in the comment section. Now, RobTop himself has actually set another world record, and this time it's for the most viewed Geometry Dash video ever. The Geometry Dash trailer, uploaded by RobTop Games, currently has 176 million views, and is also the most liked Geometry Dash video with 340,000 likes. No, I'm not exaggerating. If you are an OG Geometry Dash player, you probably know the legend himself, Empa. He's verified some of the hardest levels in the game like Kino's, Daimos by End Level, Unearthed, and a bunch of others that look like boss fights designed by the devil. But besides being cracked at the game, Empa was also famous for something way more iconic: the white t-shirt. Every video, every stream, same shirt. At some point, people were convinced he either never washed it or had an entire closet filled with identical copies like a cartoon character. Then on November 20th, 2021, something happened that shook the community harder than any new top 1 demon drop. And Pesta showed up wearing a black t-shirt. I bet you didn't know RobTop fumbled his own level design. Yeah, in Stereo Madness, literally the first level of Geometry Dash, RobTop completely messed up. Because if you look at the start of the level, you'll see these little bush spike things, but only in the empty gaps, not under the actual blocks. Nice detail, right? But then halfway through the level, he just gives up. The spikes start popping up everywhere, under blocks, inside corners, probably chilling in a hot tub somewhere too. And no, this wasn't some advanced design tactic or hidden lore. RobTop just straight up forgot what he was doing. You won't believe just how close players get to dying in Geometry Dash. From this player nearly glitching into the ground to another barely escaping a spike by 1 frame, these near misses happen almost daily and are downright nightmares for Geometry Dash players. There's even a dedicated Twitter page where players share their best close calls. From near misses with spikes to heart-stopping saves, this community celebrates the craziest, most impossible moments, keeping you at the edge of your seat. And honestly, at this rate, we should just start handing out bravery medals, because if these players keep pushing their luck, they'll need them for therapy sessions. On Geometry Dash's most popular mod, Mega Hack, there's a setting called Jump Scare, which when enabled gives you a jump scare upon death. Now, a player named Vegetal set this jump scare to a 1 in 2 million chance, and he actually got it. This guy should have bought lottery tickets on the same day, because that's pretty darn lucky. The chances of this happening are literally 0.000005%, which is rarer than the chances of me getting a girlfriend. Yeah. Speaking of mysteries, another strange one involves texture packs. A Discord user posted a screenshot showing the game's default font swapped out for something bizarre. The user, named Yilong Ma, had downloaded several texture packs, and some files accidentally mixed with the in-game font, leading to this bizarre glitch. It's technically not a bug, but it sure does look very strange. What would you have done in this situation? This YouTuber named Brayden Bull decided that Sunset Sandstorm, already an extremely hard demon in Geometry Dash, just wasn't hard enough. So what exactly did he do? He made it completely invisible. Yeah. Imagine tackling one of the hardest levels while every single obstacle is hidden. Players are forced to rely entirely on muscle memory and split-second timing to avoid disaster. It's like playing a game of Minesweeper, but with your eyes closed and a blindfold on. Did you know that some insane troll levels can actually be harder than top demons? One lucky guy managed to beat a really hard troll level named Lucky Draw. With a 1 in 7.5 million chance per attempt, it's no wonder so few have done it. This user, however, managed to pull off this insane feat after just 9,931 tries. And the odds of that, a whopping 0.13%. Now, that's what I call an achievement that truly lives up to the name Lucky. If you played Geometry Dash back in the day, you probably remember how some players would hate on levels just because they were too hard. I mean, seriously, creators trying to push the difficulty got so much backlash, especially when the impossible frame perfect level started popping up. But looking back now, those players had no idea what was coming next. Back in 2015, one of the most legendary moments in Geometry Dash history happened. Bloodbath was verified and released by Riot. At the time, Riot had already beaten the insane level Carbon Diablo X, securing his spot among the top players. But he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to dethrone Cyclic, the top player at the time, so he set out to create the hardest level ever. Bloodbath was filled with insane ship sections, brutal wave parts, and almost zero room for error, but the real challenge was verifying it. After 25,000 attempts, Riot suffered a heartbreaking fail at 96%, but he refused to give up. With thousands of players cheering him on, he finally verified Bloodbath after a month and a half, forever changing the course of Geometry Dash. Now, many people might know about this already, but Space UK is basically the modern sequel to Geometry Dash hacking scandals. Space UK was one of the biggest cheating exposés in the game history. When he uploaded his gameplay, players noticed suspicious delays between his clicks and jumps, leading some YouTubers to investigate further. But the real hit came from a player named Zoe, who discovered a watermark from a cheat called Z-Bot in his footage. And after checking further, it turned out Space UK had faked almost every single level he played, making this one of the most shocking fake pro scandals in Geometry Dash history. You might think the world record for the first level ever would go to the first level by Real Storm. But did you know that according to the game files, the level we saw in the trailer for the game Ultimate Destruction was actually supposed to be the real first level? As we all know, it never made it into Geometry Dash, giving the world record for the first playable level to Real Storm, as all of their levels before it were deleted. But I bet you didn't know that there is a level in Geometry Dash that is basically infinite, and it's called Unknown Processing. It holds the record for the longest level ever made, and it will literally take you an eternity to finish it. How is it verified? Well, no one really knows. But if you've got a trash PC, you won't even be able to load the level anyways. But this level is probably the best way to boost your playtime in Geometry Dash. And speaking of playtime, did you know that the highest playtime record is actually held by Mindbur, one of Geometry Dash's developers? While the average player has around 71 hours, Mindbur has over 74,000 hours. That's over 1,000 times the average player. And to put that into context, that's equivalent to 8 years of non-stop playtime. Whether he's constantly developing and playing or just leaving the game idle, it's still insane. That's literally older than some actual players out there. Everyone loves the Geometry Dash interface until you spot something that completely ruins your mood. So let me do that for you. The letter L in the gold font has a tiny stray pixel sticking out of it. Yeah, just one little dot chilling there like it owns the place. And now that you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like a mosquito bite on your brain. It probably happened because of some texture pack glitch, but still, RobTop, please. Some of us are hanging on by a thread, and this random pixel is not helping. It's always the little thing that hurts the most. Everyone knows Geometry Dash has had its fair share of glitches, but back in 2015, there was one that straight up let you skip the entire level like you had a fast pass at Disney World. To pull it off, players had to die at 1%, go back to the menu, hold down the play and X buttons, press yes on delete, and then let go of the play button. Yeah, it sounds like a weird ritual, but it actually worked and instantly teleported you to the end of the level. People abused it like crazy, and within days, the leaderboards were completely fried. RobTop eventually patched it in update 1.9.3, but somehow the glitch came back 9 years later. Except this time, Geometry Dash was on high alert and shut it down immediately, wiping the leaderboards once again. But that's not as crazy as the time a cursed object showed up in the level editor looking like it came straight from the dark web. This thing just appeared out of nowhere, and nobody knew what it was. It looked weird, like a broken PNG file or some forbidden item you'd unlock in a creepypasta minigame. But here's the thing, it worked like a regular object. You could place it in levels, move it around, no issues at all, except for the fact that it looked possessed. Eventually, players figured out it was actually part of the particles tab with the internal name particle_00_001.png and the ID 3800. You couldn't see it in the particle tab, but if you opened the particle editor and scrolled over to ID 3800 right before the hexagon, you'd see a single square just sitting there. The best theory is that RobTop started working on a new square particle, realized the game already had 50 billion squares, and just gave up halfway through. But instead of deleting it like a normal person, he left it buried in the files like a secret boss. And about that weird glitchy texture, if you shrink that object texture sheet down to the size of the particle sheet and layer them together, the same cursed pattern shows up right under the square.